Hello everyone and welcome back to another video on the Babbling Eyes channel with myself and Sloth. Player ratings from the Fulham draw, 1-1. We've done our review, so go check that out if you wanted to get like a more detailed tactical breakdown where we dissected all the goals and patterns of play in the game and gave a bit more of an analytical insight. This is more of the what we feel like is the player ratings. Again, a little bit more subjective, so yeah, it's going to be more opinion based. But if you enjoyed the video, subscribe and like because it massively helps us out. We're trying to get to 3,000 subs before the end of this year. So yeah, let's get into it, Sloth. Oh, wow. There you go. Celebrations to start the video. Let's get straight into it. We'll go player for player, bar for bar. Let's start with Areola in goal. Out of 10?
6, like 5.
Yeah.
I don't
Do you think
think
he
he
should have done
covered
better for
himself
the
in.
goal?
I think he should have done better, but it wasn't a howler. It was just a case of he could have done a bit better. I think it would have been it would be harsh to give him under a 5 or a 6. I think.
Yeah, I think let's give him a 6. He didn't do anything like ridiculous. I
Did he
don't
make any
remember.
good? Did he make any decent saves?
I'm trying to remember if he made any good saves. I feel like Fulham just missed a couple of big opportunities in the box.
Yeah.
Obviously, Traore in the first half with the header. Second half, even after we equalised, they had a great chance at the end. I can't remember who it was with the header, but yeah, I don't remember him making too many like outlandish saves. Maybe even like a 5.5 or a 6. He wasn't like ridiculously bad, but yeah. Let's start with Emerson. He obviously went off injured in around the 57th minute. What did you rate his performance out of 10 against Fulham?
I think it was all right. Like he gave us an outlet, but obviously came off at the 60 or 70th minute. So
57, yeah.
It's yeah, 6. I think 6 out of 10. He wasn't his usual marauding self, but I think when Tete had a great game, so he was being a bit more standoffish and defensive minded, I think.
Yeah, he also had Traore to deal with for majority of the game, which definitely takes his toll out on that side. But what about yeah, I would agree. Let's give him a 6 because again, he came off injured and didn't do anything particularly bad or good. I think there was one occasion in the first half where he gets beaten to the header by Traore, which was the big chance.
But I think that was more
Mavropanos.
I think that was more
Mavropanos.
Was it?
I can't remember. I remember Traore coming in at the back post and heading it wide. It might have been Mavropanos. But yeah, all right, we'll give him a 6. Onto the centre back pairing we just mentioned. Let's start with Mavropanos. I'm inclined to give him a 4.
Do you know what? I think I'm going to go a little bit harder. I think I'm going to go 3. I think it was incredibly frustrating, and as I said, like the decision making and the ambling back is one of my pet peeves because, as I said in the review, a late flag is a great flag. The mindset for a defender should just be to get back and make a difference. For the goal, he is the main one to blame, in my opinion, because he should be doing far more. And I just don't. He didn't impress me. I know he kind of won a few aerial duels, and he was fairly decent on the ball. But I think when you're at fault for a goal, particularly one that is a decider. It's the deciding goal for Fulham. I think he was really poor. I think it's a 3.
It's those moments that also stand out, isn't it, in a game where there isn't much action. I mean, there was bits and bobs, especially more so on the Fulham side, but I thought he dealt with stuff coming into the box quite well in general. I thought him and Kilman both did that quite well, but yeah, as you say, those mistakes, they stick out like a sore thumb, and it happened on a couple of occasions. Even for the Traore penalty claim, it came from his misdirected header from the press. So yeah, I think I'd give him a 4. Because I don't think he was
4. Maybe 3 was a bit harsh, but
I mean, yeah, he made the mistake for the goal, obviously not playing the offside trap correctly, and could have done better to block the Smith Rowe pass. But we'll go with a 4. What about Kilman, his pair? Because I didn't think it was his best game, but I don't think it was, I don't think he was particularly bad. But he, again, should have done better for their goal.
I'd say a 5 or a 6. I think he was very good on the ball, and like I said in the review again, like it was a case of he made his sort of burst marauding run once in that game, and when he realised he didn't have anyone to actually give it to up top, he just kind of stopped, and I think he was playing it a bit safe. So it wasn't his best game, but I don't think he was at fault for the goal as much as Mavropanos, and I thought he was much tidier. His decision making as a whole, and as you mentioned, like his when he won headers, they were far more decisive. So I'd say maybe 5 or 6. I don't know how.
Yeah, I think a 6. I think a 6 is fair. I don't think, as you said, I don't think he was particularly bad. Should have done better for the goal, but in general, he played okay. What about Wan-Bissaka? Completed the back 4. To be honest, for me, I think he was just as bad as Mavropanos, if not worse, other than the mistake for the goal that Mavropanos made. I think Wan-Bissaka in that 90-minute period just wasn't good at all.
No, I think he was sharper when he went to the left back position, but it was definitely his worst performance so far for us. So I don't know. I wouldn't say he was as bad as Mavropanos, but maybe that's just because his error, in my opinion, is massive in the goal. So maybe a 4 or 5, 4.
Yeah, I wanted to give him a 4. To be honest, I think he was below average. I don't think he was that good. I'll
go with you, Frankie.
Yes, good. We both get one like extra pass where we have to agree with each other. I'm taking that on Wan-Bissaka because I don't think he just didn't look on it. He just didn't look up to it. He was slow to the ball. He was we're used to Wan-Bissaka. Well, what we've seen so far, been very athletic, been very energetic in the defense and even going forwards. And he wasn't that against Fulham. He was very lackluster and was beaten to the ball time and time again. There was an occasion where he switched off at the back post and they could have scored from it from a cross. And yeah, I just remember him not having too many good moments as well in possession. So going to give him a 4. But yeah, let's move on to the midfield. Obviously, we started a midfield 3 of Alvarez, Guido Rodriguez, and Tomas Soucek. Let's start with Edson Alvarez. Didn't complete the entire game. Came off in the 82nd minute for the equalizer. The person that came on for the equalizer. But what would you rate Alvarez's rating out of 10 against Fulham?
I think he was unlucky to pick up his yellow card when he did. Like, it seemed like the first foul that he'd really made, and I'm not saying he didn't deserve a booking, but I think it was his first sort of real foul, and it should have, in my opinion, been one of those when the ref just goes, look, this first one. But I know people are trying to be sticklers to the laws these days. So I thought he looked tidy, and he definitely, if we're talking about how bad the defenders were, he does have to take a little bit of the flak for that. But I thought going forward, he also kind of helped link up things. So does it balance it out? I'm not sure. I think I'd say 5 or a 6. He doesn't ever really seem to, well, touch wood, but he doesn't seem to have like a stinker of a game.
He hasn't so far, has he?
I don't think he was that bad. But yeah, I'd say a 5, 6.
I think I'd give him a 6. I think he was slightly above average compared to most of the midfield that started anyway. I think he was. Do you think he was better than Guido Rodriguez? I guess we can do his assessment as well now.
I think Guido,
he was similar in my mind.
Yeah, like I think maybe Guido just looks a little bit slower at the moment for me. He just doesn't look like he's quite got the pace of the league yet. I'm sure he will. Like I'm pretty much certain he will, because he's very tidy, and you can tell why Barcelona were interested in him, because he's got that. He makes everything look easy.
Yeah,
and he gives himself time. Just little turns and things that he did, found in that extra couple of seconds to play a pass. But I don't think he did anything outstanding. So I think Alvarez, in my mind, was maybe a little bit better, but maybe that's my bias towards.
Should we give Guido a 5.5 and an Alvarez a 6? Does that work?
Yeah, that's yes. Well, this is
that's
a very
fair.
diplomatic one today, isn't it?
Yes, excellent. Right, next one. Tomas Soucek. Was he worse than Mavropanos?
Well, Mavropanos was involved. Like, yeah. I think that's what we have to say. Like, he was anonymous, and it wasn't even
substituted
like
at half time as well.
Did he get a booking? Or am I just for me? If you're having a stinker, just bloody clatter someone. Like, I know
so
that's
going to read you. I'll read you some of Soucek's stats. He won 1 duel, lost 5. Won 1 out of 5. Sorry.
Who against? I was watching the game, but I'm thinking, like, how do you lose to? I mean, Calvin Bassey's not a big centre back. Like, they don't have a tall midfield. How are you that tall and you lose that many duels against their defenders? If it was Diop, I could maybe understand, but
I mean, he won 1 out of 5 aerial duels. In terms of his involvement in the game, as you said, it was pretty lackluster. He made 4 out of 7 accurate passes in total. Just wasn't involved. Very limited touches, 14 touches in total. Yeah, just wasn't good. Wasn't good enough, and no tackles or anything like that. So,
and the one shot he had went to the moon.
Yeah.
So I think. Oh, I don't want to be
4 as well.
No,
worse.
3. I think the difference, like as I said with Mavropanos, what did we give Mavropanos?
We gave him a 4, and he although he made mistakes in the game, I think his overall contribution kind of made up for it a little bit. But Soucek was just completely
anonymous. Like at least if you're having a bit of a stinker, as I said, you can clatter someone, or you like throw yourself about. And I just he was a bit of a ragdoll, so I'm going to go 3.
Yeah, I also think the way we set up didn't help him, do him any favors either. But yeah, it is what it is. We know what about. We're not going to go into the Tomas Soucek stuff here, but yeah, we'll give him a 3. I reckon. I think that's fair. What about the front 3? We'll start with the other person that was substituted at halftime, Antonio. It's got to be either the same as Soucek or maybe even a little bit worse.
Yeah, I think
3.
I can't give him worse than Soucek. Not for me, because I think they were both anonymous, and I think if I was giving him a worse mark than Antonio, than Soucek, I think that's harsh. I think that's kind of unwarranted. He was very poor, but
I mean, for Antonio, he lost every single duel. 6 out of 6, he lost all of them. 4 of them were ground duels, 2 of them were aerial duels. He was dispossessed 3 times, 22 touches, and 6 out of 10 accurate passes. So pretty much bar for bar with Soucek. Not that great, to be honest.
I said 3.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think if you're getting substituted at half time, it's either you're 2 or 3-0 down and the manager's going for it, or there's something severely wrong with your individual performance. I think it was a bit of both, to be honest. I think it was a tactical switch and a personnel switch, and both Soucek and Antonio were very, very poor. So worst players on the pitch, I would say, in that first half. So yeah, we'll give them both a 3. What about the 2 wide players? We'll start with Mo Kudus. Started out on the left-hand side, moved over to the right-hand side in the second half, and later on in the second half was kind of switching with Somerville on the left and the right. Yeah, tough one to call this.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what Tony Gale was going on about with his talk about him having a strop. I think he was quite bright in the first half, like he was probably our only real spark.
Yeah.
But by no means did he have a good game. No. So I'm going to say 6. I think to give him a poor mark would be too harsh, because it wasn't like he, was wasteful or didn't work hard. I don't know where, as I mentioned, I don't know where that word strop came from. That's poor in my opinion.
Yeah.
But I'd say 6.
Yeah, I think I'd agree. I think 6 is fair. He had some good moments in the second half. Created a chance for Bowen that should have been finished, and as you say, it was hard to get involved in the first half, to be honest. And in the first half, he did look like one of the brighter sparks. So, yeah, I'd give him a 6. What about Jared Bowen? Got the assist right at the end for the Danny Ings equaliser. Does he get a slightly higher grade than Kudus for that?
Yeah, 7 in my opinion. I think, he was more anonymous than Kudus in the first half, but he just kept working, and you've got to applaud that. So yeah, 7 for me. I think the quality of the ball across as well from the position it was in, at 7.
Yeah, no, I'd agree. What about Danny Ings, who came on and got the equaliser? We've got onto substitutes now. We've been through the whole 11. He's the one that got the goal, made the difference on the day with the point. And, he had 4 touches in the game, and 2 of them, one was a touch to set up his shot, the other was the goal. What would you give his rating out of 10?
8. Yeah, that's how long. Well, that's kind of how long he was on in terms of the real time. But I think if you can take 4 touches and get a goal, and I think he as I said in the review, he should now be our substitute. And we've criticised him, rightly so, in the past, but I think you have to give him his flowers. 8 out of 10 for me. Great finish.
Give him a 9.
Great first touch.
Yeah, I'd give him a 9 because of the touch.
If he got a winner, I'd be with you. But it's an equal.
All right, fair. We'll keep him at an 8. We'll keep it at an 8. Right, let's get on to the other 4 substitutes that came on. The 2 at halftime, Lucas Paqueta and Crescencio Somerville. Let's start with Paqueta in the midfield. Do you think he changed the dynamic, and what would you give him out of 10?
I think he did. I think he did his usual Paqueta-isms, though, where he kind of he loses possession a bit. So I can't be too nice. I think I'm going to go, maybe you're going to think this is harsh. I'm going to say a 6.
He wasn't better than Kudus in my mind.
No, just because I think he had an impact on the game, whereas Soucek was completely anonymous, and I don't think Paqueta did anything that was outstanding. Or
maybe give Paqueta a 5. I don't think he was that good, to be honest. I thought he was average.
I think it's hard to give him that when I felt like there was a bit of a lack of spark even when Paqueta came on, and I felt like that continued. So maybe a 6 or a 5.
5.5?
Go on then.
Perfect. Right. What about the other substitute, Somerville? I actually thought he had a pretty good appearance. He wasn't involved loads throughout the 45 minutes, but I think when he did get the ball, he was causing Fulham some problems, and he had a couple of good moments where he drove it from the right-hand side, and I think Lukic picked up the yellow card. He was on the left-hand side where he was kind of taking on a few players and cut inside and got fouled, but then got up and continued to move forwards with it. What would you give Somerville out of 10? In my mind, I'm maybe leaning towards maybe a 6.5.
Do you know what? I'm going to go 7 because I think he showed enough work rate, and he chased back quite a lot, but also I just think that he did quite a few things where he played forward balls and they were good passes, but I just think that there was maybe different wavelengths at time where had he been starting, I think maybe they'd have picked up on those passes. But with the pace of that Fulham back line, I think Robinson and Co kind of just uncovered. They were just quick enough to him. But I thought his work rate was really positive, and he did help us kind of get out from the back. So I'm going to say a 7.
Okay, I wouldn't give him a 7 just because I don't think he was involved enough to be a 7. I think he had a couple of good moments, but he was on the pitch for 45 minutes and maybe could have impacted the game a little bit more. But do you want to overrule me on this one? Do you want to use this as your overall?
No, actually, I'll go with a 6. I'll go with a 6 because I think it wasn't like he played the ball for Bowen or anything. So
I'll give him a 6.5. I'd happy to give him a 6.5. I think he was better than some of the other players we've given a 6. So yeah.
Yeah, he got stuck in, and I think that's something that West Ham fans want to see. They want to see a winger, even if they're slightly smaller or whatever. I think they want to see him getting stuck in and covering yards. So yes, 6. I'm happy with.
All right, we'll go with 6. 2 more. One was Vladimir Coufal, came on for the injured Emerson, was instrumental in the goal. Obviously with a quick throw into Bowen. What would you give his performance out of 10? He only played half an hour, so it's hard to do it. But what would you give him?
7. I think.
Really?
Yeah, I think he, as frustrating as he is, and I don't think defensively. I think defensively he was a step up from where Wan-Bissaka was, but I think he offered a bit of an outlet, and he was on it for the goal. He was on it for the throw, and I think that when you have a player who can keep offering you that, he was always there as an option. So although he didn't quite win every duel, I think he was sharp enough, and at the end of the day, I think that's what matters.
Okay. I'm happy to give him a 7 just because of the throw-in alone. And, we probably wouldn't have done that if he wasn't on the pitch. So, last one was Carlos Soler, the first time we've seen him in a West Ham shirt. 20-minute cameo, got booked, very close to being sent off. What would you give his cameo out of 10? 'Cause, to be honest, I don't think he was great.
No, I think 5 out of 10. He got about, put himself about, and he showed that there is a player there, or that there's going to be a player there. But as with Guido, he just looked off the pace. And I think this will be one that in a couple of weeks or a month's time we'll know how this transfer's panned out, or how this loan has panned out. But what are you thinking?
I was thinking maybe a 4, to be honest, or a 4.5. I don't think he was great. I think he was lucky not to get sent off. Didn't really make that much of an impact when he came on. Like, I didn't notice a difference for that 20 minutes, 25 minutes he was on the pitch. Didn't particularly do anything that impressed me. Like, I'm thinking back to, I know it's completely different, but when Paqueta first came on as a sub for West Ham, when we first signed him against Spurs, I think he had about 20-minute cameo, 25-minute cameo. And everyone was like, he was unbelievable. Like, he made the impact instantly and completely changed it. I didn't get that vibe with Soler in this game. Again, it's harsh to kind of judge someone on 20 minutes, but as you say, he just looks off the pace. And yeah, I'd probably give him a 4, 4.5, to be honest. I don't think he was that great.
Yeah, 4.5.
Yeah, done.
Yeah.
Perfect. Right, there we go. That was easy. Those are our player ratings from the Fulham 1-1 draw. Let us know down below in the comments what you think and what your player ratings were and which ones you differ with our results. So yeah, I think it was a good draw. We now very quickly shift our attention to Chelsea at home, which we'll be doing our preview show for in a few days' time as well. So make sure to subscribe so you don't miss that.
Should we give Lopetegui a quick?
We should actually, yeah. I completely forgot about Lopetegui. Yeah, go on. What would you give Lopetegui? Because he was criticised for his setup and praised for his tweaks in the second half and rolling the dice attitude. So, what would you give Lopetegui's performance, Lof?
Oh, I'm going to give him a 4. I think the changes in the second half, good. Some of them weren't that effective, as we just mentioned, but I think to set up the way we did was very disappointing. And I can't give him a 5 because that's quite, that's you've done all right, but I think really disappointing setup.
It's tough because, as you say, the initial damage was almost self-inflicted, and then the changes in the second half were almost getting back from the damage that was done. So
I think we were very lucky that we weren't two.
We were lucky to come away with it of a point, 100%. I think if we'd have sat here, having lost 1-0, easy 4, maybe even a 3. I think because we nicked that point, yeah, as you say, maybe a 4 is probably the best. There were moments in the game that I liked. There were a lot of moments in the game I completely hated. So yeah, I think we'll go I think we'll go 4. As you say, you can't get the team selection that wrong like that coming off the back of an international break when you've got the likes of Somerville on the bench. And yeah, hopefully he would have learned from that as we go into the Chelsea game. And yeah, as I mentioned, we'll be doing our preview show in a few days to break that down. So yeah, let us know down below in the comments your thoughts. Leave a like on the video as always. And Sloth, till the next one.
Come on, you eyes.